Hello, Elizabeth Ide. I am going to read another fairy tale for you today. And this fairy tale is one that we have really read a lot about. I know a lot of my students in my groups have read The Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf, except for this story is called No Lie, Pigs Can Fly. Or I'm sorry, No Lie, Pigs in Their Houses Can Fly. The story of the three little pigs as told by the wolf. So the wolf is telling the story this time. So I'm going to show it to you up front and top here. All right. And this story is written, the author is Jessica Gunderson. Okay. The back of the story has some really good clues and a summary as to what this book is going to be about. So I'm going to read the back of that so you can kind of start to visualize and make predictions as we go. Of course you think I was a beast, bullying helpless pigs and destroying their homes for fun. You don't know the other side of the story. Let me tell you. All right, here we go. So start to make connections and compare and contrast. So comparing, telling how things are the same, contrasting, telling how things are different in the stories, okay? And remember, with these types of texts, there is different versions. So that means that someone is telling it a little bit differently. The point of view is told by the wolf in the story, whereas the other story was told by the narrator and their point of view, okay? So the characters are going to stay the same, the way the story is told, and the person that is telling the story is different. So they have different point of view, so they might have a different mindset about the story. Yep, it's me, the big bad wolf. Now before you run away or start crying, here's something you should know. And this is the truth. The only thing bad or big about me, well, it's my breath. Doctors say I have UBS, uncontrollable breathing syndrome. Basically, when I breathe, I let out huge gusts of air. I can't control it. Believe me, I wish I could. It's gotten me into so much trouble. So this wolf is, see my cat Lincoln. This wolf has a disease. He has a syndrome we didn't know about. He can't control his breathing. How many of you knew that when he was the big bad wolf? How many of you felt bad for the three little pigs? You might be changing your mindset right now. You might be changing the way that you feel about this wolf as you are reading the story. So make predictions. What do you think is going to happen in this story? Life with UBS is tough. I breathe out and garbage cans tumble down the streets. Trees tip over. On really bad days, airplanes teeter off course. That's because he's blowing so much that airplanes even are blowing away. I can't play a proper game of sports. Balls shoot into the air, never to be seen again. Hey, wicked Wendy, the other wolves yell. How's it flying? Or hang on your hats. Here comes Hurricane Harry. It's a lonely life. That's why I left the pack not long ago, hoping to make new friends. So remember that wolves, they live in wolf packs. And without his wolf pack, who's he going to hunt with? Who's he going to hang out with? Who's he going to talk to? Especially when he has that breathing syndrome. I kind of feel bad for the wolf right now. One day I came upon a straw house in the forest. A little pig stood inside, stirring a pot of soup. I'd never known any pigs, but I'd heard they were nice, upstanding creatures. I thought I might enjoy having a pig as a buddy. I called, "Little pig, little." Whoosh! What just happened? Based off of what you know about the wolf and about his breathing syndrome, when he said, "Little pig, little," and he spoke, what happened to that straw house? From your prior knowledge, so think back to the regular story of the three little pigs and the big bad wolf. what would happen to that straw house? And look at that expression before I read the next sentence. Look at that expression of that pig when he is making his soup. Tell about that emotion. Tell about that feeling he's having. The house exploded. Straw flew everywhere. The startled pig took one look at me and jumped right into the boiling pot of soup. What do you think happened to that pig? He jumped right in. Did he survive? Did he make it? Is he alive? Look at how bad that wolf feels. Is that a big bad wolf if he's feeling this emotion in this picture? Wanting to apologize, I peeked into the pot. No pig, just a fat, juicy ham. I took a few bites. Delicious. That pig, wherever he was, sure could cook a good soup. So remember, where did that pig go? What does the wolf think about that pig? Does he think he's actually in that container there? And we know that ham comes from what animal? Comes from pigs. So what did that wolf just do with pig number 1 from the straw house? That kind of goes along with the story so far, as he ate it, but did he know he ate that pig? Nope, we call that someone who's gullible. That means that someone who believes in some certain things. So he believes he was just eating a really good soup that pig number 1 made. He didn't think the actual pig was in the soup. Farther into the forest, I came upon a house made of wood. So pig number 2. A little pig stood inside frying potatoes over a fire. I called, "Little pig, little." What do you think's gonna happen? Remember, he's got that breathing disorder. Crash! The wood house splintered into 100 pieces. The surprised pig saw me and leaped right into the hot frying pan. Remember, he was making some potatoes, and unfortunately he went into the hot frying pan. I was so sorry for blowing apart the pig's house. I wanted to apologize. But when I peered into the pan, do you think there was a pig in there? No pig in sight, just strips of sizzling bacon. Yum-mo, said the wolf. Does that wolf realize that he's really eating pig number 2? I don't think he does. He just thinks that, wow, that pig was making something really good. Didn't make a connection to that bacon. So was he getting rid of these pigs on purpose? No, he wasn't. Finally, I came upon a brick house, and in the first story that we've ever read about the 3 little pigs and the big bad wolf, does this house survive? Talk to someone about that. Does the brick house survive? Meaning, does it still stand up, or does it get blown down? A little pig stood inside, stirring a kettle of stew. Little pig, let me in, I called. Guess what? The house didn't budge. The pig saw me and hollered, "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." So that's a similarity. Maybe he had heard about the other pigs' houses and the messes I'd made. I needed to do something nice, so I gathered a basket of turnips and apples. The pig opened the door, snatched the treats, and slammed the door on me. That pig was a little bit smarter than the other ones. Was the wolf trying to be kind? Was he trying to be nice? He was. He just wants a friend. My stomach growled. He was hungry again. So think of what's the 2 things that he's ate so far from the other pigs. He had some ham. Was that the first pig? He had some bacon. Was that the second pig? Yeah, but did he know that? He didn't. I hoped the big pig would share his stew with me, and we could be friends. See, he just wants to be friends. He doesn't want to eat The pig, he wants to eat the stew the pig is making. I knocked, but he didn't answer. So I scampered up the wall and wriggled through the chimney. So wriggling through the chimney is trying to make your way in there. Not smart. Whoop! I fell right into the pot of boiling stew. Ah! I shrieked. What's happening to the wolf? This is very similar to the regular story because he does come down the chimney, but he was trying to come down the chimney in the other stories because he wanted to eat the pigs. In this story, he just wants some tasty stew. You ruined my supper, the pig cried, but then he giggled. Goodness, look at you, he said. With your fur burned off, you look like a pig. I did look awfully pink. Oh, we might have a fourth pig. That wolf sure does look silly. I'm sorry. I was mean earlier, said the pig, whose name was Mortar, Mort for short. Wolves don't usually want to be friends with pigs. They usually want to eat them. I told Mort about my UBS and how the other wolves bullied me about it. So this poor little wolf was being bullied. Don't you feel a little bad for him? Have you ever tried using it for good? He asked. What do you mean? I asked. Come on, I'll show you. So that looks like a bunch of friends right there. Mort led me to the little blue house. Inside, a girl was huffing and puffing, trying to blow out her birthday candles. Mort nudged me. I leaned through the window and blew. The candles went out and all the kids cheered. So who does all those kids think blew out the candles? The little birthday girl. But who actually ended up happening to help her? The wolf. Later, we found a group of children trying to fly their kites. The day was calm, and the kites wouldn't move, but when I breathed in their direction, the kites sailed into the air. So he was using his syndrome for something good. The pig was helping him. So that's my story. Mort and I have become good friends. So he actually became friends with a pig. And his house is so sturdy. I never worry about blowing it down by accident. He made me stew again tonight. No meat in here? I asked. I don't eat meat, he said. Not even bacon? Mort shook his head and sighed. No, Wolf, not even bacon. Not even when pigs fly. So see, even at the end of the story, the wolf still didn't even know that pigs were made out of bacon. He didn't even probably know that pigs were made out of ham. So he didn't even know that he was eating these poor animals. He was just trying to make a friend, but because of his poor syndrome, he didn't know that he was going to be blowing down these houses until he came across Mort. And Mort taught him a valuable lesson of how to use his syndrome for good. So as you were thinking about this story and making connections, those text-to-text connections between the original story of the three pigs and the big bad wolf and this story of no lie, pigs and their houses can fly because it's told by the wolf, I want you to think of these questions that are in the back of the book here. All right, so these are some critical thinking questions. You can go online to find the classic version of the Three Little Pigs, or after you watch this video, you can go onto another person's YouTube channel and find the story also. Describe, so tell in details, how the character of the wolf looks in that story and how they act differently than in the story that I just read. Compare, so tell how they're the same, and contrast how they are different, him with the wolf in this version of the story compared to the other story. At first, the third pig, Mort, doesn't want to be friends with the wolf. What events, so what things in the story, cause Mort to change his mind? So why does he decide to change his mind about the wolf? Think about that. If Mort told the story, so think about that third pig, Mort, if he told the story instead of the wolf, what might be the details that he would tell differently? Would he tell about the big bad wolf trying to blow down his house compared to the wolf just being a friendly wolf? Would he tell those differently? What if the first pig in the straw house told the story? We would have a different story. How would his point of view differ? How would it be different or change? Then there's also in the back of the books, remember when it's really important words, they're usually bold throughout the story, or they're important types of characteristics of the story, they're in the glossary. The glossary tells you important words and the definition. So before in other stories that I've read, we talk about the character. Remember, a character is a person in the story, an animal, or a creature. So our characters in the story are, of course, the three pigs, and the wolf. So those are our characters. The plot is what's happening in the story. Now our plots are going to be different in this story compared to the original. So kind of talk about those different plots. The point of view is a way of looking at something. This story was a way of looking something in the wolf's eyes, whereas in the other story, that was the narrator and kind of more on the pig side of things. And the version. The version is an account of something from a certain point of view. So this story was told by the wolf, whereas the other story is told by the narrator, the author, and more from the version of the Three Little Pigs. So I hope you enjoy. There's going to be 2 other fairy tales that we talk about, and I'm going to read about Jack and the Beanstalk later on and Little Red Riding Hood. So you'll have to be able to compare and contrast those books too. Bye guys.